What if the greatest football tournament in the world was won long before the first whistle blew? What if the real game wasn't played on the pitch, but behind closed doors, in back rooms and billion-dollar deals? This is the story of how a desert nation smaller than New York City, Qatar, shocked the world, outbid giants like the USA and Japan, and won the right to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup. But was it fair, or was it fixed? Today we dive deep into the Qatar conspiracy, a story of power, politics and money that changed football forever. December 2nd, 2010. The world watches as FIFA President Sepp Blatter steps onto the stage, opens the envelope, and says the words that will echo through football history. The winner to organize the 2022 FIFA World Cup is Qatar. Gasps, silence, confusion. A country with no football history, no major stadiums, and temperatures so hot it could melt a football had just beaten the United States, Japan, Australia, and South Korea. The world was stunned. How did this happen? To understand it, we need to look at how FIFA really works. The World Cup host isn't chosen by fans or players. It is chosen by just 24 powerful men, the FIFA Executive Committee. These men control billions in football revenue. Their votes decide who gets to host the biggest show on earth. And Qatar? They didn't just play football. They played politics. According to multiple investigations, the Qatar bid wasn't built on dreams alone. It was built on deals. The BBC revealed evidence that Qatari official Mohammed bin Hammam paid over £3 million in bribes to secure votes. Emails, wire transfers, and leaked documents told a story of suspicious payments routed through shell companies. Some called it football's dirtiest deal. Others called it business as usual. In response, FIFA launched an internal investigation led by a US lawyer named Michael Garcia. For 2 years, Garcia gathered over 400 pages of evidence. But when the findings were released, FIFA only published a 42-page summary. Garcia himself resigned, calling the report incomplete and misleading. Even FIFA insiders began to ask, what are they hiding? But the deeper you dig, the more it becomes clear. Qatar's win wasn't just about football, it was about power. Qatar is one of the richest nations on earth, a global energy superpower with immense influence in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. It owns airlines, hotels, and one of football's biggest clubs, Paris Saint-Germain. And don't forget, Qatar also owns beIN Sports, one of FIFA's biggest broadcast partners. Billions in contracts, billions in leverage, coincidence, or conflict of interest. But behind the glitz of new stadiums and futuristic arenas, another story was unfolding, a darker one. While officials debated money, thousands of migrant workers were building Qatar's World Cup dream, often in dangerous, extreme conditions. Reports from The Guardian estimated over 6,500 migrant worker deaths since Qatar was awarded the cup. Qatar denied the number, but one thing is undeniable: the human cost of the World Cup was enormous. Meanwhile, in Europe and the US, investigators were closing in. The US Department of Justice, Swiss prosecutors, and French courts all opened investigations into FIFA's corruption network. Indictments were filed, officials were banned. Careers ended overnight. FIFA's reputation was in shambles, but despite all of it, the lawsuits, the leaks, the outrage, Qatar kept its World Cup. The stadiums were finished, the games went on, the world watched, and then forgot. So was the 2022 World Cup rigged. No one can say for sure, but the trail of bribes, deals, and denials paints a grim picture of the sport we love. A game that was once about passion, now dominated by politics. A game that once united people, now divided by money. Maybe that's the real tragedy. Not that it was rigged, but that we may never truly know. The 2022 World Cup was a spectacle. It was historic, emotional. It gave us Messi's redemption, Morocco's miracle, and millions of unforgettable moments. But it also reminded us of the truth, that behind the goals and glory, football is a battlefield of power. A game where influence decides outcomes long before the players step onto the pitch. So the question remains, did Qatar win the right to host the World Cup, or did they buy it? Was this tournament a symbol of global unity, or a warning of how deep corruption runs in world football? Whatever you believe, one thing is certain. The 2022 World Cup changed football forever. The legacy of Qatar will be debated for generations, and somewhere in the boardrooms of FIFA, the next deal is already being made. If you believe football deserves better, hit like, share this video, and comment below. Do you think the 2022 World Cup was rigged? Subscribe for more eye-opening football documentaries that reveal the truth behind the beautiful game.